Well, hello everyone. This is Jim. I'm back for another episode of the Linux Shortcut. Today I'm going to talk about something that I decided I had to solve. Many of you remember on Windows, which you can see here, I have a screen capture on my screen from a Windows 10 virtual machine. If you have collections of videos, you were able to, within Windows Explorer, to have some detailed information about those windows. You had to right click and choose these columns, right? So for those of us that have big collections, doesn't matter what it is, whether it's podcasts or anime, sports, or a big not safe for work collection, you want to be able to have this kind of info, right? The name, the type of video, MP4, MPEG-2. If you have old stuff, it might be WMV or AVI, Flash, all kinds of different formats. You want to know the size, basic info, which is in the default view, of course, but these are not. You got length, the running time of the video, the frame width, the bit rate, and then, of course, there's the date, which is a default column. There are others you could add. For example, if you have audio, you could title and track, and there are other ones that you could customize. But these are the ones that I always found useful when I have large collections of videos, and I do. I have hundreds of directories full of videos, and when I'm not looking at them in thumbnail view, I want to have this type of info. So you can compare what you've got. When you're downloading new stuff, you're not sure if it's the same as something you already have. You want to, you could look at, oh, that's the one I just downloaded today, or here's the one that's X number of minutes long. Or you might have a duplicate, and you could look at them and see they're the same length, but one is of a bigger frame size or a higher bit rate. This is just basic information that I think you need in the detailed view if you have collections of videos. It would be similar with audio and other types of media, but for sure, this is something that you want. Now, here's the problem. On Linux Mint, my preferred distribution, and I'm sure many others, there are other file managers. For example, Linux Mint uses Nemo, which I like. It's neat, it's clean. I think it's really good. The only problem is, by default, you don't have that kind of info. You have to add it. And the only way to do that is you need a plugin. So by default, unlike Windows, Nemo doesn't have this info that you're looking at right here. You have to go here and add Nemo Media Columns. This is from the repository, as you can see. And when you do that, you add that extension to Nemo. And then you could right click and you got a whole bunch of useful columns here, right? The ones I'm using are very similar to what I had in Windows Explorer. You got the name of the file, including this one that I'm creating right now. You've got the type, the detailed type, that would be MPEG-4 or AVI, etc., the size, length or running time, the image size expressed as one value X another, and the overall bit rate, the date modified. You could also add in a number of other attributes that are more detailed, like separate video and audio bit rates and things like that. But these are the ones that I think are useful, just like very similar to what I had on Windows. Now, here's the thing. As neat as this is, you have to do this for every single directory. It's not a global choice. And as you can see, there's a bunch of other useful options here, right? Album, title, artist, track, genre. And then for pictures, if you have a photo, you have some other neat data here you could add. But for videos, I'm using these. Now, if you have a large collection that already exists, or you frequently add to it, like I have hundreds of folders with thousands or probably over 10,000 videos in my collection, and that would mean I'd have to go into each folder and customize with Nemo Media Columns. That's obviously just not practical. So I thought there has to be a solution. How am I going to deal with this? I tried to look for other file managers on Linux. We know there's a lot. I tried Dolphin. It's pretty similar to Nemo, vaguely, but it doesn't have those kind of columns by default. I know I've tried Thunar in another distribution. Doesn't work either. So I had to start looking into other options. So looking online, doing some searches, I found a solution, and it is called Double Commander. This is a free cross-platform open source file manager, and it mainly features 2 panels side by side. It's inspired by Total Commander. So a Russian developer creates this. They got a forum, and this is available for pretty much every distribution. It's even available on BSD and some other alternate operating systems, I think for Windows as well. So no matter what OS you're using, this is an option. Now, why did I look into this? By default, Double Commander doesn't have what I need. It's a very much more busy looking file manager. And here, let me open it up, right? So give you an idea what it looks like. I have the second window put off to the side because, I'm not really using it as the drag and drop stuff back and forth. I just want the single window like I had on Nemo, more or less. You can't even see the other side. Now, I had to add this in. The nice thing about Double Commander is there's an option. There is a plugin right here. And now there's your Double Commander guide for if you want some info about how to use Double Commander, by the way. But I was just about to say, here you have a plugin, which is called Mediainfo. This can be added to Double Commander, and this makes it doable. This is what gives you the columns that you might have just got a glimpse of. I had to look through this, and it was a little hard to figure this out, but I did it step by step and used some common sense, and I was able to put this together, right? So the first thing you have to know is that you have to put this plugin in Double Commander. It relies on something called Mediainfo. Now, if I go back to the software manager here, just like Nemo, Media Columns is in the repository, so is Mediainfo. And there it is. Mediainfo is a separate app, by the way. It's not the extension alone. Mediainfo is an app that works all on its own without Double Commander. I just want to make that clear if I misspoke earlier. There's a graphical version, command line version, and the graphical version here, there and there. You can use these by themselves to look at the detailed media information for video and other media files in the command line, or it will launch a graphical version of the app. Let's see. Let me show you here. Let's see. Let me go to videos. All right. All right, so there's my files. You can type Mediainfo right here in the command line, and then there, it brings up detailed information about your individual file. It's pretty neat. You could also do it in the GUI. So let me go back. Mediainfo-GUI. And then it launches a GUI right here. You can have different views here, from easy to text and others. So what you need to do is you need to follow these instructions, and what you can do is take advantage of Mediainfo that's installed on in your operating system in conjunction with this set of instructions here, and then it will enable a detailed capability in Double Commander that was not already there. So step by step, first you've got to go to this GitHub right here and copy the Mediainfo directory here on this GitHub right there to your local hard drive. I had to learn how to do that just for this purpose because I'm not that familiar with GitHub like some others are. But anyway, I figured out how to do it. I used some kind of website to download this, and then in your home folder, I had to make these directories and put Mediainfo inside of there, right? Then I had to, as it says, install Mediainfo command line interface. That is what I was just showing you on the repository, or I think you could do it through the command line as well. Then you've got to locate the file name of your Lua library, very similar to that. It says inside user. Now, it wasn't exactly there. It was either buried there or in a different directory entirely. So I had to use find and chase it down. So that was a little confusing. But anyway, once I found it and went back into Double Commander, into options, plugins, and point to that library in the settings, once I did that, then you had to go into configuration, options, plugins, WDX, and choose that Lua where you put it inside your home folder there. Okay, and that's somewhere in here, right? Configuration, options, and plugins, WDX. I had to go into there and add Mediainfo Video CLI. And once that was enabled, then you can go up to here, columns, custom columns, and that's where it gets interesting, because here's columns view, here's the default, right? That's what it looks like. The normal default or standard view of columns when you're in Double Commander. But then you could customize a separate view and save it. So that way it will stay for any time you're using Double Commander. You can switch between these, default or videos. And here's how you choose it right here. You have to click down here, add column, and you go click in here. It was a little counterintuitive, but once I figured out how to do it, once you click in here, like add a column, and you click in the empty spot there, and then it will show you a bunch of options, and you could add. And I chose these ones: name, extension, type, video format, size, general duration, and hours, minutes, and seconds, video width and height, and then the bit rate, and then the date. So what that does now is, there we go. All right, so now this is what you see. Here, you see that? You can choose. You have to click right up on that bar, and you can change from default to videos for custom columns. And there it is. Name, extension. Well, let me click inside. Here you go. Now this is a podcast, a directory that actually has content in it, right? This is what I'm recording right now, so don't get thrown by this thing blinking. My existing 3 files are right here, right? It keeps the extension as a separate column, which means you can sort by it instead of just appending it to the end of the file name. The type, video, MP4, the format, that's the codec that it's using, then the size in megabytes or gigabytes, the duration, the width and height, and the bit rate, and then the date. Very similar to what I had in Windows Explorer, and very similar to what I did in Nemo Oh, there goes my alarm. Let's ignore that. All right, so now here is the interesting thing. It stays. When you're using Double Commander, this will, if you're in this view, it'll stay in that view. Even if you switch, you go up one level to the videos folder, right? And you can see it keeps the same columns that are there. It doesn't disappear. Even if I close Double Commander, when I restart it, not only will it restart right here in the same place I left off when I closed the app down, but it will maintain the video column. So now imagine you've got dozens or hundreds of directories full of videos. I'm not going to show you mine because privacy reasons, but here you see, as an example, my podcast folder. Imagine I had dozens and dozens of more folders and I wanted to browse through them. It would maintain this. That doesn't happen. I don't think that happens even in Windows Explorer, but it certainly doesn't happen here in Nemo either when you use the custom columns. But here with Double Commander, videos works. It will stay even when you shift around. If I go up to, let me go to pictures. You see, it's not really appropriate, but it has the same columns in the same order. So it works very well. And you could browse around everywhere and know that you have the columns you need to look at video and make sense of what's in these folders. Now, lastly, what I managed to do was sort of tie Double Commander in with my launcher. I use a launcher called Kupfer, Kupfer. It's an old app. It is not. I don't think it's been updated in a few years, maybe even several years. There are many others that are more popular, like Rofi and others. I don't use it to launch apps. I use the Windows key for that, or the super key as we call it in Linux. But I do use Kupfer for traveling or directly to directories by name. So here's how that works. Control space, right? Type a name of the folder directory you want to go to. Podcast, right? Now, if I click enter, it'll just open in my default file manager, which is Nemo. That's fine, but Nemo's not really doing it for me when I want to browse videos. So what I do is control space, excuse me, then hit Control W, open with, and then you can type anything that you want, any installed app. You just type the first few letters, Double Commander. And so now it opens directly in Double Commander. So what that means is if you could be at your home, at your desktop, anywhere, you're nowhere near your folders and directories where you have your images, your videos saved, right? You might, like I have mine on 2 external hard drives called Media Server 1 and Media Server 2. Literally hundreds of folders here with thousands of videos, hundreds of folders here with thousands of videos in it. But if I'm sitting here at my desktop and I think, oh, gee, I want to go to this particular folder. Maybe I just downloaded something to there using YTDLP or JDownloader, or I just need to get there because I want to refer to something. I use the launcher, in my case, Kupfer, and Control Shift, you type the name, go to videos, for example, Control W, and then DUB, right? Boom. It gets you right there. So now, anytime I want to get to one of my videos, I can navigate directly there through my launcher with Double Commander, and I can be guaranteed that I'm going to see the columns that are appropriate for browsing through collections of videos. unlike the default. So now I've got all these, and now I could, compare files. I can at a glance see what's new, see, their width, their height, the running time. Because you might know, hey, I just downloaded a 15-minute video. Here it is, or here I want to go to the first one I downloaded. You look for the oldest date. Or I have two videos that have the same name and they're similar sizes, but one of them has is a bigger frame size than the other, right? So maybe you want to delete one of them. So I find it very useful anytime you want to browse through your gigantic, if you have, like me, a gigantic collection of videos. You don't want to do it in Nemo because all you're going to get are those plain default columns. Unless you want to laboriously do each one, not only of what you have existing, but everything going forward. So I hope people find this useful. Please subscribe, and I will come back with some more tips that I find interesting and useful. And thank you very much for watching.